shaping up to be a very interesting race for North Las Vegas mayor. And here to join us to talk about her candidacy, Daniele Monroe-Moreno. It's good to see you once again.
Good morning. Thanks for having me back.
Assemblymember Monroe-Moreno, of course.
Yes.
So let's talk about why you're looking to move on beyond serving up in Carson City and running for North Las Vegas mayor. What was the spark that got you to maybe change your political aspirations?
Well, you know, I have thought about North Las Vegas City Council for many, many years. I worked for the city for 20 years before retiring from the North Las Vegas Police Department. And at that time, I truly believe in the power of prayer, and I pray about where I'm supposed to be and what I'm supposed to be doing in life. And I didn't feel that God was leading me to City Council at that time. That was 2014. But it was the state legislature, which would give me an opportunity to be an advocate for the citizens of North Las Vegas, but at the state level for state policy. And as you know, there's term limits, right? You can do 12 years in either house. But at the end of the session, as the session was coming to an end, I felt that God was leading me somewhere else. And it's back home. I knew that once I left session, that there was something else planned for me. I wasn't sure what that was. And I told my family and friends, let's pray on this. And it was leading me back home to the city that I love and the community that I love, that I've been advocating for the last 5 sessions at the state legislature, to come home and be a part of this council. And as we look at economic times that we're about to go into or already into, bringing those skill sets that I've acquired at the legislature back home to City Council.
Obviously, you're not the only member of the leadership up on the Democratic side in the Assembly and the Senate, I guess, that's moving on. Speaker Yeager, Assemblymember Haudegi are all looking at other things as well. Just before we talk about North Las Vegas, as you know, leader of the Nevada Democrats and so forth, is there a concern about this change? I know it happens a lot, of course, in Carson City, but just sort of talk me through, help voters understand why this shift is taking place.
You know, ironically, in 2016, we were all elected together. We all came in together, and we're all leaving a little bit earlier than would have been planned together. I don't think that there should be a concern. I know that just as a leader in general, I have been working with people to get them ready to be in leadership positions as elected officials, but even behind as staffers working on campaigns and in community. So I think the state is in really good hands. I told someone last night at our kickoff, I said the state ran before I was there, and it's going to run even better after I'm gone, because we were able to enact a lot of amazing legislation while we were there. But there are some amazing legislators that are still there that will be phenomenal leaders in both the Assembly and the Senate. And I look forward to seeing who they bring on to join their team.
The cycle of change in the legislature is something we're used to seeing.
Oh, term limits are a real thing.
Yeah, well, and for good reason. And obviously, so now you're looking at running for North Las Vegas mayor. You mentioned your kickoff. You've been running for some time now in one form or fashion. And you also talked about your experience with North Las Vegas Police and at the city level beforehand. How does your experience with North Las Vegas Police and Corrections, how does that translate with your time in the legislature and then potentially come together at City Hall?
My goodness, so that's so much. You know, my time as a corrections officer, being with the North Las Vegas Police Department and a representative for the Employee Association, I was able to also work in the community and be an advocate for our community and start an after-school program that focused on those kids that we had their parents in our jail facility, and how do we stop that cycle. But all the other nonprofit work that I've been able to do and the boards and things that I've sat on. But then running for the state legislature and being blessed to be elected, and then move into leadership my second term in the legislature, and being the first Black woman to be in leadership in the Assembly. But then having the pleasure and the honor to serve as the chair of the Ways and Means Committee, I was able to help this state navigate through both a fiscal surplus and a deficit.
And COVID.
And COVID,
yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
But bringing, you know, all of those skill sets, my ability to work as an officer and communicate with the inmates that were in our care. Sometimes you meet people at the worst day of their lives. They're not bad people, but they may have done something desperate, and be able to help them navigate through that. Go to the state legislature and be able to work with our other elected officials to help the state get through those ups and downs and economic downs. But the relationships that I've been able to build with our federal delegation, with our other elected officials throughout this state, and with our business partners, I believe brings a unique skill set that I have to the office of mayor, to be an advocate for our residents.
So I think it was last week, very recently, you did a very public event where you were kind of going from shop to shop, business to business, speaking with folks on the ground. Just based on your experience living there and going around town, what does North Las Vegas right now need the most?
Oh my goodness. Okay, so being out in community is what I love to do. It's what I always do. It gives me an excuse to talk to people. And last week we did a tour through the city, talking to small businesses, but talking to residents about what's important to them and the issues that matter most to them. And it's the economy, right? It's everything that's related to the economy. It's those kitchen table issues, whether it's the cost of childcare, because for some families, the cost of childcare is more than what it would cost to send a child to college. For some families, it's housing, and especially my seniors and some of my veterans who are being priced out of their homes. People have moved here to retire and decided that North Las Vegas was their home, and I love that they've made that decision. But as seniors on a fixed income, some of them are being priced out of their rental properties because they didn't want to have a mortgage. And for those families that want to buy their first home, finding it difficult because they're competing against some of those corporate entities that are coming in and buying up homes that they're not able to, or that growing family that wants to expand to a larger home and finding that difficult. But for my small businesses, the fact that I continue to go to them and talk to them about those issues that are important to them resonated last week when we did the tour, because they can't leave their business and go down to City Hall and tell the mayor and city council.
So then what would you like to do if you're elected as mayor? What policies would you like to bring about? What ideas would you like to bring to help folks stay in their homes, support their businesses, and just try and survive in difficult times?
Well, it's continuing the conversation. The tour last week was not a one and done. That's something that we will continue to do throughout my term as mayor. But it's also working with the contractors that want to come into North Las Vegas and build, and making sure that they're building a product that's affordable, attainable. But in some of my work that I've done in the legislature, enacting policies for supportive housing, knowing that we have some behavioral health care issues in our state and in the nation, and making sure we have home projects that are on the books that address affordable but also sustainable and supportive housing.
Yeah.
But I want North Las Vegas to be a destination location.
Well, and that gets to a topic that I've talked about with current Mayor Goins Brown and others in City Hall. There's been a lot of talk in the past about these potential developments and things that are in the hopper, whether this on the ongoing work up at Apex, the idea of a downtown complex near City Hall with, I think either CSN or Nevada State University wants to build a bit of a campus there, the old Texas Station and the Rancho and that whole site. It seems like things are about to happen, but they haven't happened yet. What would you do as mayor to make sure these things happen?
Well, I will have 12 years in the seat as mayor because there's term limits there too. And you're right, there are a number of things that are right on the bubble. In addition to having the tour and talking to business owners and citizens last week, I also toured with the city's economic development department and said, show me these projects that are in the works and where are we at with them. There are a number of things that are right on the bubble. There are a number of things that could be happening, but there may be some federal red tape that we need to get through. So making sure that, as a mayor and city council, that we do what we can for those business owners to get rid of as much red tape as possible, to make it easier to establish a business in North Las Vegas, and working with the state to make it easier to expand your business as a small business owner in North Las Vegas. So like I said, you know, leveraging those relationships that I have, but also bringing everyone to the table, all of the stakeholders. When I say that I want North Las Vegas to be a destination place, I really do. When people come to Nevada, and especially Las Vegas, they come with their discretionary income, and folks don't have as much of that anymore. But I think the tides will change, right? So when you fly into Harry Reid Airport, I want North Las Vegas to be one of those spots that you say, while I'm here, I want to go see. So what are those things, what are those products that we can build in North Las Vegas to draw people here so we're a destination location for tourists?
You've mentioned several times your time serving in the legislature and speaking with the opponent in the race for mayor, Councilman Scott Black. One of the things he mentioned is, you know, respecting your service, of course, but also pointing out that you haven't been at City Hall as long as, for example, he has. How do you respond to suggestions that obviously you live in the community and you're familiar with the community, but you haven't served at City Hall since you were on the corrections officer?
Correct. I have not served on City Council, but my interaction and work at City Hall started 20 years ago when I was working for the city. I was there advocating for the North Las Vegas corrections officers, the police officers, our Teamsters, our after-school programs, and advocating for the families in North Las Vegas. That work never stopped. I ran for an office that took me for 120 days every other year to Carson City to do the work of the legislature. But as a legislator, you come home and you're in your community, if you're doing your job right, 24/7. And I came home in my community on weekends and in between sessions, working with the citizens of North Las Vegas, those nonprofits that are on the work, enacting the policies that we put in place at the legislature. So yes, my job took me to Carson City every other year, but my work was here in this community in North Las Vegas. It's the community I love. It's where my children grew up and went to school. So I never left here. And I was at City Council when there were things on their agenda that I may not agree with or I wanted to applaud them on. It's just that I made sure that my work at the legislature made the work easier for those in City Hall, and now I'm ready to lead as the mayor.
Final question here, and it kind of circles back a little bit to your time in the legislature, but also as the recently reelected head of the Nevada Democratic Party. The mayor's race, City Council, those are nonpartisan positions, of course. Would you change your position with Nevada Democrats? Would you step backwards if you're elected as mayor? That would seem to fly in the face of the idea of being nonpartisan if the person who runs the Nevada Democrats is the mayor.
Right. So I have been a registered Democrat since the day I registered to vote at 18.
And for the record, everybody who's in city office has some political party, but it's
exactly.
It's a nonpartisan post.
It is a nonpartisan post, but I've always said, I'm a registered Democrat, but I serve everyone, whether they voted for me or not. And you cannot enact good policy no matter where you're elected to serve if you're not willing to have conversations and build relationships across every aisle. And I am proud that I have done that. Even at my event last night, there were Democrats, Republicans, and nonpartisans that were at the kickoff event last night, but they also serve on my election committee and have always been that way, because I truly believe as an elected leader, your job is to lead no matter what party affiliation you are from. And I stepped up to be the party chair, and I've told you this before, because I saw that we were at a time when politics had gone to a place where there was needed civility to it, and you can't complain about an issue if you're not willing to be a part of the solution. And I believe I've been able to do that in a large part to the party here. And I will have to evaluate what I take on once I'm mayor of the city of North Las Vegas and what titles that I'll have to give up, if any. But that's a discussion that we'll have after June when I win this election.
All right. Tough talk.
All right.
It'll be a very interesting race. Daniele Monroe-Moreno, thank you for coming in, and we'll be in touch. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.